For anyone who isn't familiar with the concept, a recursive translation is when something is taken from one language, translated to at least one more, and then converted back to the source language. The results can be quite interesting. Anyway, let's go. Foreverware. As soon as the Teller family moves to Eerie, they are warmly welcomed by Betty Wilson. Betty invites Marilyn to attend a demonstration of Foreverware, a special line of plastic food containers supposedly capable of keeping anything fresh forever. The braces. Marshall goes to the dentist to get braces, but he fears suffering the same fate as the previous wearer, a poor soul who could hear the inner thoughts of dogs. Thoughts that turned out to be, for the dogs, extremely unpleasant. The automatic vending machine. Simon strikes up a friendship with Eerie's brand new intelligent vending machine, a device capable of fulfilling any request, such as dispensing a toothpick. Meanwhile, the residents of Eerie watch in horror as their own bank accounts drain away at an alarming rate. Lost and found. Mr. Teller is notorious for being absent-minded. When he accidentally misplaces a box, a birthday gift from his wife containing numerous cherished items, Mrs. Teller begins to worry. Marshall decides to take charge of the search. With Simon's help, they make a discovery that is surprising, to say the least. America's scariest home video. On Halloween night, Marshall and Simon are tasked with babysitting Simon's little brother. With some free time on their hands, they amuse themselves by playing around with a video camera. By accident, they end up filming their little brother right in the middle of a monster movie. At the exact moment, a real mummy bursts into their home. No laughing matter. When Marshall is sent to the school's new infirmary, replacing the traditional detention room, to be punished for his misconduct, he senses that something is amiss. And when Simon transforms right before his eyes into a zombie-obsessed eccentric, going so far as to drop out of school, his suspicions are fully confirmed. Chained heart. Marshall and another classmate both fall in love with a girl who has just transferred to their school. The classmate gives the girl a heart-shaped necklace as a token of his affection. Later, this classmate is critically injured and comes close to death. His heart is harvested and transplanted into the girl's body. When Marshall notices that the girl's mannerism and behavior are beginning to mirror those of his late friend, he senses, with growing dread, that something truly extraordinary is taking place. Dead letter. While exploring the basement of the local library, Marshall stumbles upon a long-forgotten, dust-covered letter. The very moment he breaks the envelope's seal, a young man appears out of thin air. He vows to hunt Marshall relentlessly, never to leave his side until Marshall delivers the letter to its intended recipient. Who's Who. A tormented young girl, passionate about drawing, accidentally uses a magic paintbrush, an artifact belonging to Eerie, Indiana, to alter her artwork. To her astonishment, she discovers that she has acquired the power to instantly alter the very fabric of the real world. The Lost Hour. Marshall hates the local custom of ignoring daylight savings time. He therefore decides to set his clock back an hour. When he wakes up the next morning, the house is deserted, save for a few unusually silent garbage collectors, who are dead set on tossing him into a trash compactor. Marshall's theory of everything, aka Professor Hill. A professor, an expert in paranormal research, arrives in Eerie with the intention of observing an extraterrestrial creature whose imminent visit to the town he has predicted. Marshall immediately sees this as an opportunity to reveal the existence of this mysterious being to the entire town. But is the professor truly who he claims to be? Tornado Day. As the tornado, Old Bob, approaches Eerie, the residents busy themselves preparing for their annual Tornado Day festival, a ritual intended to appease the storm. Marshall and Simon, meanwhile, insist on staying home. While tracking down a weather forecaster who was left behind in town during Old Bob's previous visit, they uncover certain truths that only serve to fuel Old Bob's fury. The Hole in the Wall Gang. Marshall and Simon set out to investigate an old mill rumored to be haunted. It turns out the whole thing is merely a hoax orchestrated by a mysterious young man who refused to let anyone get close to the mill, or so it seems. However, the situation takes a turn for the worse when they discover an old rusty pistol, a weapon that has, somehow, captured the shadow of Gungy Bill, the most notorious bank robber in the history of Eerie Town. Mr. Cheney, aka Mr. Talbot. Marshall is named the Harvest King of Eerie Town, a title that, according to tradition, compels him to venture deep into the woods to confront the legendary Eerie Wolf. The problem is, no Harvest King who has ever entered those woods has ever returned alive. No brain, no pain. A mysterious vagrant is attacked by a woman wielding an X-ray gun. He managed to buy some time by distracting the woman until the police arrive on the scene. After witnessing the entire incident, the assault of a homeless man by a woman armed with a gun, Marshall decides to intervene and come to his aid. However, the task proves arduous, as the homeless man constantly mutters incoherent ramblings and has a strange habit of concealing various electronic devices inside bizarre, makeshift contraptions. The Order of the Faithful Grains, or the Faithful House. A series of strange events begins to unfold within Eerie's local boarding school, the Order of the Faithful Grains. When Marshall's father joins the organization, Marshall decides to launch his own investigation, vowing to uncover the mysterious truth hidden within its walls. Zombies in pajamas. In preparation for an imminent inspection, Redford is assigned a new partner, Donald. His press agent launches a scathing attack against his clientele, those customers who, like sleepwalkers, flock nightly to the world of objects to attend his frenzied auctions. They buy whatever crosses their minds, displaying a complete lack of rational judgment. All they had to do was simply sign on the dotted line. Reality takes a vacation. Marshall discovered a note in his mailbox and began to read it. Suddenly, he found himself transported onto the set of a television show, where everyone around him insisted on calling him Omri. Broken record. Marshall tried to lift the spirits of his friend, who was feeling down in the dumps, by playing him an album by the heavy metal band Pitbull Surfers. However, shortly thereafter, Eerie began to undergo a radical transformation. The musician, once reluctant but exceptionally gifted, suddenly metamorphosed into an unruly troublemaker eager to steal the spotlight. It's all the same thing. Thank you for the registration question?